And now.
That's the middle shot. He scores! Slipped it off to Wyatt Matthews. He's in! Eagles take the lead!
The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Welcome to Sports Talk, the number one sports podcast in the Philadelphia area. Come on out here, Brodes. This episode of Sports Talk with Brodes is brought to you by Sports R Philly. Sports R Philly contains a wide variety of great blogs across the Philadelphia area. You can follow them on Twitter at Sports R Philly or check out their website www.sportsrphilly.com.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Sports Talk with Brodes. Today is going to be an amazing episode. I just found out on my ride home that AJAYI has been traded to the Eagles for a fourth-round pick. And that is not all. It's just going to be an amazing episode before we begin. Follow me on Twitter at sportsandbrodes. You will find out when I release new episodes. And, for example, my newest YouTube video, hilarious. You can see it on Twitter at sportsandbrodes. It's a comedy. It's a pre-game ritual for a Flyers game. It's absolutely hysterical. Also, you can call into the show using your voice recording app on your cell phone and sending it to sportsandbrodes@gmail.com. I know it's been a while. My schedule has been picking up a little bit more than expected. Well, I knew it was going to be this way, but it's a little aggressive right now with hockey now in full season. We had our first game of the year away, 6.5 hours. So my weekend was a little cut short. Missed out on some things, but not on Sunday because college hockey is Friday, Saturdays, which is nice. But with school, practice every day, lifts, I'm really grinding, but I want to make sure I at least get some episodes out. I will not quit on this. So we got some football. We have the Eagles. We have that amazing Game 5 of the World Series, which was maybe the best baseball game ever in a World Series. And then we have some Sixers hoops and some Fly Guys. We got some hockey. We got it all. Today is going to be a great episode. But like I said, on my way home from class, first off, I find out, after waking up at 8 a.m., just having a slow morning, I find out that Metro Boomin and Offset drop an album, a surprise album. I'm so pumped to refresh my Twitter feed and see that AJAYI has been traded to the Eagles. I can't believe it. Now, I wanted to get an offensive tackle at this trade deadline. I think it's a huge piece to this offense moving forward, especially in the playoff run that we are pursuing. But I guess it's not how it's going to work out. Because in the game against San Fran, which the Eagles won 33-10 to improve to 7-1, Fletcher Cox hurts Joe Staley on a pick-6 return. And that's who we were pursuing. That we were pursuing him for our offensive tackle for Jason Peters going down, and we injure him in the game. He breaks his orbital bone. Let's run through the Eagles game. Let's start there. Amazing. 7-1. I am officially on the hype. No more, oh, it's the Eagles, we're going to be cursed. This isn't going to happen because it's the Eagles. No. It's happening. This is the year. I am fully bought in that this is the year. We are going to do it. I almost cried in my car sitting there just thinking about it. It's the year. So here it is. I figured we would struggle a little bit early on. It's hard to get hype for a game when you're playing San Fran, who's sitting at 0-7. Or were they 0-6 at the time? We were 6-1. Nope, 0-7. Wow, week 8 already. Flies by. It really does. Halfway through the season, pretty much. So yeah, I figured we would struggle a little bit. First quarter, it's tough. It's tough to get hype for a game when you're playing a team that hasn't won anything. But I thought that San Fran, regardless of their record, really showed hard work, hard work ethic. They weren't just giving up out there until later on in like the fourth quarter, but they really did work hard. Their front line is really solid. I mean, their front seven is a solid force. Wentz got sacked a few times. That's why I think this offensive tackle situation is bigger than I think we're addressing it. But if they have hopes for Vaitai back there to be able to step up, I don't hate him over there, but he struggles at times. And that's just the truth. He struggles at times. My question before the game was how are they going to play without Jason Peters? How are they going to play without Jordan Hicks? San Fran's not the biggest test in the world. I think next week is going to say a lot more against Denver. Although they lost last night to Kansas City. Rodney McLeod had an interception. Patrick Robinson leaves for concussion protocol. We kick a field goal early. We have a 3-0 lead. Ertz, touchdown. Great play call. He was wide open in the end zone to make it 10-0. And this is where we kind of went on our push. This is the push that we were looking for. Jalen Mills gets a pick six, and we convert on a 2-point conversion. Like I said, this is when Fletcher Cox went into Joe Staley on the pick six, where he broke his orbital bone. Mac Hollins got some time. He had a nice reception. But there was a play where Carson Wentz threw an interception, and when they looked at it on the replay, it looked like Mac Hollins either ran the wrong route or they were just on different pages. Not sure who really messed up, but they were not on the same page, Carson and Mac Hollins. He kind of stopped running. Maybe it was a busted play, it looked like, and he was just trying to read and react. And they were off. They were off on that play, and Carson ends up throwing an interception. But at the halftime, it was 17-0. Derek Barnett in the second half blocks a field goal. You love to see the special teams getting some jobs done. Now, Carson Wentz threw 2 passes that I believe were overthrown that lately, this year, he has been definitely nailing on the money every time. So he had 2 overthrown balls. And his weaknesses last year were he wasn't that great on the deep ball. Now, these balls weren't that deep, but they were a little bit more downfield, and he overthrew them. One of them, he was getting rocked, so I understand him not being able to set his feet the way he obviously wanted to. But, I'm not shooting him down for it. I'm just saying it's something that I noticed that he has been on the money with lately. So, Blunt, 2 nice back-to-back runs, and he ends up getting in the touchdown. 33-7. Elliott misses 2 extra points, but it was raining. It was a sloppy game. Foles comes in, and I'm ready to just put the feet up, clap the hands. Another great victory. How about this? Last 2 Eagles quarterbacks to win an NFL championship wore number 11. Someone called into sports radio the other day, Philly Sports Radio, got his credit card in the mail. It was the one with like the Eagles background on it that you can get from like Visa or MasterCard. It's got the bird on it. The last 4 digits, 1152. You figure it out. It's happening. It's the time. Now there were trade rumors that maybe we were going to go out and buy Calvin Johnson by his rights from the Lions. Clearly that did not happen. But AJAYI, how is that not huge? We finally have a back system that is going to be rolling for the rest of the season. Not only do we just have Blunt now, we're talking about a dynamic young back. I want to say he's 24 years old. I'm looking it up. He's 24 years old, I'm pretty sure. Born in 93. 24 years old. I know he's been having knee problems. It says it on fantasy every week. I know he struggled. He's on the Miami Dolphins who can't get anything done. Just wait. This is amazing. For a 4th round pick of 2018. This is amazing. It's the year. I don't want to hear it. Denver coming to town. I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of Denver the way they've been playing. They lose last night again. Like I said, to Kansas City. I am not afraid. I want to look through this Eagles schedule. Oh, those W's are beautiful to see. 7-1. So we play the Broncos. Win. Cowboys. No Zeke. What's the suspension news? Still suspended. But he has 24 hours with the NFLPA to be able to get his restraining order back or whatever. Who knows what's going on anymore? But the later they keep pushing this back, the more games he's suspended in the future. The same amount of games, but you're pushing it back. And at this point, he's going to be done for both Eagles games. And if he keeps pushing it back and he's not done for the Eagles games, looking into next season, just do it and get it over with. But as of now, 6 games. So a Cowboys team in Dallas. I was writing that off as a loss. No Zeke? Give me a W. I mean, there's only a couple games that I can see on this schedule that are going to be losses. We played the Cowboys twice. Reality, we're going to split with them. That's one more loss. We go out west to Seattle and the Rams. One of those are going to be a loss. So that's 2. And then the Raiders on Christmas is a toss-up, but I'm really not that afraid. We're going to beat the Bears. We're going to beat the Giants. So say at worst 3 losses left on the schedule. 4 losses on the year. 12-4. At the worst. It's the year. It is the year. Let's go around the league a little bit. It's the year. I can't even process this. I can't even process what is going on here in Philadelphia. And wait till I get to the Sixers because it's happening there too. The Patriots trade Garoppolo to San Fran. I didn't realize he was so young. Patriots fans getting a little worried that there's nothing left after Tom Brady leaves. Now, I know Tom Brady's having another crazy, amazing year, but he's 40. He's 40 years old, and they have nothing in the quarterback position after trading to the Colts and now trading to the 49ers. But I'd like to move from the 49ers. They got to get something going. They have to get something going. Now, I haven't realized it's been this long since I've done an episode, but that Thursday night football game last week, Kiko Alonso destroys Joe Flacco, did not get kicked out of the game. It was a ridiculous hit. It needs to not happen in this league. Few guys said, you try and run full speed and stop on the dime when you see someone sliding. It's their job. That's what they do. You have to realize who's running. You got to realize that they're going to slide. Colin Cowherd ripped apart saying Joe Flacco's 6'6" and slides awkwardly. It's his fault. Shut up. That's stupid. Just stupid. Andrew Luck feels more pain from his shoulder, checking to see where this pain is now coming from. Whew, that's tough. Are we talking about Andrew Luck's career over? Is that happening? Is Andrew Luck's career over? He fell off big time. It's a shame. More pain coming from somewhere else now in the same shoulder? I don't understand. How can you, as an NFL franchise, have a training staff with someone like Andrew Luck, who's your prized possession, not know what's going on or misdiagnose something? I don't understand. He's too big of a player to be able to do that. That should be on your mind 24/7 as a training staff. But hey, coming from a Sixers fan, we know how that is with the training staff. Zach Miller, speaking of injuries, is in jeopardy of losing his leg after a leg injury with the dislocation of his knee. That serious. I can't believe it. I remember sitting there watching on the couch. I had Red Zone on my laptop. I didn't do the dual TV. I just did laptop Red Zone Eagles TV, which I get all the Eagles games on my Comcast here in Baltimore, which is so nice. Did not see that happening. But he is in jeopardy of losing his leg. I can't believe it. That's a tragic, that's a sin. I feel so sorry for him. Prayers to him. Prayer he can recover. Everyone around the league is supporting him. And then it was a touchdown catch. But I saw it and I was like, ooh, that looked bad. And then I noticed on Twitter, man, they're talking about serious injury. Saints turning around after going 0-2. I remember ripping them apart, saying they need to figure out their defense. They got to figure out a lot of things. Sean Payton, why did you re-sign him? 5 straight. 5-2 now. Figuring it out. Pittsburgh Steelers with a W against the Lions. You ready for some crazy stats? Juju loses his bike. Finds his bike. Listen to his night. They beat the Lions 20-15 on Sunday Night Football. 7 catches, 193 yards, 1 touchdown. Longest run, 97. Decent night at the office. Speaking of big nights at the office, the Texans Seahawks 4:25 start. Both quarterbacks throw for 4 touchdowns. Watson, 402 yards. DeAndre Hopkins, after having a personal day for leaving the facilities after the owner says some cruel things about the inmates running the prisons. How stupid can you be by saying something like that? Goes for 224 yards, 8 receptions, 1 touchdown. Fuller, 5 receptions, 125 yards, 2 touchdowns. On the other side, though, because they fall to Seattle late, Russell Wilson, 452 yards with 4 touchdowns. That was a crazy game. Game of the week for sure. The Cowboys and Redskins go off 33-19. The Cowboys get the win. The Redskins just could not handle the weather. The turnovers, the fumbles, the drop. Oh, man, it was a slop fest. It was pathetic. They couldn't get anything going there. So another week of football in the books. How about this? The most touchdown passes in the first 7 games for Deshaun Watson is 18 touchdown passes. Kurt Warner, 18. Dan Marino, 15. How are the Browns not kicking themselves? Carson Wentz, Deshaun Watson. You have Kaiser. That's all I have to say with the NFL. Let's go to college football. Now, I've been through this before, but our hockey games are Friday, Saturday nights at college hockey. Saturday night, we had a 6-hour road trip to Morrisville State, upstate New York, driving from Maryland, long ride. Our game was at 5. Penn State, Ohio State, 3:30. So yeah, I missed it. And it sucks. And I'm just going to be straight up honest with you. I missed it. But I did some research on it. I watched a lot of highlights, the extended highlights. And of course I missed probably the game of the year, which I hope to be wrong. But that was awesome. I mean, for Barkley to run back the opening kickoff. Stop. And just the comeback, being down 11 points, Ohio State with 5 minutes left. I missed it. I missed the game of the year. And it pisses me off, but what am I going to do? I'd rather miss Saturdays than miss Sundays. But it was an absolute beautiful game. Very entertaining. See, I'm just so upset thinking about how I'm missing it. I wish I watched it. McSorley with 192 yards and 2 touchdowns. Barkley ran for 44 yards on 21 carries. And he had one big run for about 30 yards. So it seemed like he really did get shut down other than the returning kickoff in that one run. On the other side, J.T. Barrett, 33 of 39 for 328 yards and 4 touchdowns. He did what he had to do there late. He did what he had to do, and it was a big-time win for Ohio State. It was a huge win for Ohio State. They needed that. That keeps them alive in the playoffs. I'm going to look up the poll and see what we got. College football poll. Now, I still think Penn State has what it takes. I really do. And it sucks because the loss hurts, and if you lose earlier in the season, you have time to make up for it. But if you win all your games and then lose late in the season, it hurts you. It really does. But I know they take in who they played as an obvious, big. They take in what I'm trying to say is they obviously know who they played. They played Ohio State. They're not losing to some scrub team, and they were winning the whole game, and they lose late. So I know that the committee has that obviously in their mind. Now the top 25 as we speak. We'll go from the top 10. TCU 10, Miami 9, who keeps finding ways to win games. Oklahoma 8, Penn State is at 7. Not out of it yet. With Clemson at 6, Notre Dame at 5, and then here's your playoff. Wisconsin, Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama. 1 and 2, SEC. 3 and 4, Big Ten. Now, for Penn State to get in, you have to worry about Clemson not losing, Notre Dame not losing. It's going to be tough. I'm looking up their remaining schedule. Let's see who Penn State has left. I kind of want to see Penn State get in there. They play Michigan State, Rutgers, Nebraska, Maryland. All winnable games. We'll see how it plays out. Lots of teams fell, though. You got Michigan State falling to Northwestern in triple overtime. Washington State lost away at Arizona. TCU lost to Iowa State 14-7. And Stanford escaped Oregon State on Thursday night. I remember watching that game 15-14. And that was actually kind of exciting because Oregon State having a tough year and to take someone who's ranked 20th, Stanford, into a late game. That's the beauty behind it. All right, so we have some topics left here. The MLB playoffs. That Game 5, I mentioned it. Amazing. But before we get there, the Yankees fired Girardi. What? I don't understand. The team overachieved. He's been there for a while. Front office doesn't like him. Team loves him, clearly, the way they played for him in the playoffs. I'm shocked. You take an overachieving team to Game 7 of the ALCS. Fired. That's the job, I guess. That is the job. Now, both teams in the World Series have discussed the baseballs are slicker and affecting sliders. They said there was a blind test, and they easily picked out the ball with the problem that had the slicker side effects, if you will. Verlander says it's like signing a Starbucks receipt. So clearly something's going on. It's Game 5, and the World Series has the most homers ever in it. The amount of home runs this year has been ridiculous. I don't know. They're just trying to make the game more exciting, I feel. They clearly did something with the balls. And in my notes here, I've had a bunch of games lined up because it's been some time, but I can't talk about those other games when Game 5 occurred. I just can't talk about it to the same level. Best baseball game I've ever watched, besides the Phillies winning the World Series. I think last time we left off, it was 1-1. And here we are entering Game 5 with it being 2-2. And then it happened. It happened. The amount of 3-run leads that occurred, the amount of comebacks that happened, it was beautiful. Going down in the books. So here we go. Top of the first. Dodgers take the lead 2-0. Then they score again. 3-0. So in the top of the first, the Dodgers are up 3-0 after Forsythe singles to left and Hernandez scored on an error. Top of the fourth, Barnes singled to left. Make that 4-0 at the top of the fourth. Here comes Houston's pushback. Bottom four, Correa doubles. Scores a run. Springer scores. Homer. 3-run shot. Tie ball game, 4-4, bottom of the fourth. But what happens the next inning, top of the fifth? Bellinger homers to right. Seager and Turner scores 7-4. What happens in the bottom of the fifth? Altuve homered to center. Springer and Bregman scored both 3-run shots. Not even close to being done yet with the craziness. Bellinger, top of the seventh. Triple to center. Hernandez scores. They take an 8-7 lead. Bottom of the seventh. Springer, solo shot. Crushed it. Same inning. Altuve doubled to center. Bregman scores. They take the lead 9-8. Same inning. Correa, homer to left. Altuve scores. 2-run shot. Take the lead 11-8 in the bottom of the seventh. Top of the eighth. Seager, double to left center. 11-9. Chipping away at it. But at the bottom of the eighth, McCann gets it done with a single shot to give Houston a 3-run lead. So here we are at the top of the ninth. The score is now 12-9. Just amazing back and forth baseball. Puig, top of the ninth. Homers to left. 2-run shot. 12-11. Taylor's up to bat. Singles to center with a guy on. 12-12. Tied it up. Down 3. Top 9. They come back again. So we go to extras. And in the bottom of the 10th, Bregman singled to left center. And Fisher scored. Walk-off fashion. 13-12. 5-hour plus game. Longest in World Series history. Amazing drama. One for the Bucks. One for the ages. It truly was. I've watched a lot of baseball, and I haven't seen anything like that. Justin Verlander tweeted out a picture of him before and after the game. The before was a normal selfie. The after was him with like wrinkles, and he obviously like photoshopped it, and it was hilarious. And he said it was well worth it. An emotional win. Correa, there's a GIF online of him going nuts during that last hit in the bottom of the 10th. He's running out the dugout. He's swinging his arms. He's telling Fisher to slide. He's screaming with his fist up running to the outfield. And he said, I didn't even remember doing that. He just blacked out from adrenaline. So 3-2 Houston. Going back to LA. And it's not over yet. The way these series have been going, it is not over yet. Being home for LA is huge. Absolutely huge. So let's go Sixers. They're hot right now. They're hot. They beat Dallas, which was huge. And last night, they get a revenge win against Houston. And you know what? Late, they were making mistakes. They were turning the ball over. And I was thinking, oh no, here we go again. They weren't making free throws. They got it done. That's all that matters. They win 115-107. Embiid, 22-9. Sarch, 14-6. And Big Bad Ben with 24, 9, and 7. Ben Simmons is the best guy on this basketball team. And that's scary because we know how great Embiid is. Ben Simmons is the best player on the 76ers. I've never seen anything like it. And last night he was actually hitting jump shots, and that's the scary thing. He was hitting jump shots from the top of the key consistently, and it looked nice, and it looked fluent, and it looks like he is ready to roll. He's going to start practicing even more with these jump shots, and it's going to get real effective, and it's going to be scary, because which one do you take away first, the lane or the jump shot? As of now, it's the lane. You take the lane away, you force him to shoot that jump shot, but what happens when he starts drilling them? A lot. TJ McConnell, 3 for 3 from the 3-point line. What? Okafor did not play. TLC with a big night, 17 points, coming off the bench. It was just a good game last night. Like I said, it got scary a little bit at the end, but we got it done. So that's 2 wins in a row. That's a win streak for the Sixers. We are 3-4 right now after the tough start. We play the Hawks Wednesday night at home, 7 o'clock. This team's ready to start rolling. This team is ready to start rolling. And one of the things that I was thinking about is with this trust the process thing, we have a couple guys who we picked who wasn't even part of it anymore. Could you imagine if we hit on these guys? Nerlens Noel, Okafor. Okafor was a top 3 pick in the league. At the time, it was the right pick. Coming out of Duke, it was the right pick. Just did not work out. It's just crazy to think that we had guys that didn't even work out with this process, and we're still where we are today. The Flyers. Doing Flyers thing, middle of the pack right now. Arizona came in last night 0-11-1. We were down 3-0. I tweet, typical Flyers, cracking up emojis. Thank God the Sixers are back. Well, we tie it back up 3-3 in the third period after late goals. We had 2 goals under a minute, and then I tweeted, I love the Flyers. I responded to myself with 5 exclamation points, only to lose it on a pretty brutal turnover in overtime. Sanheim, for them to cash in for their first win of the season for the Coyotes, but at least we got a point out of it, but still not happy with that. You got to beat the Coyotes at home. It has to happen. Right before that, we had a game against the Leafs that we played very well in. Ghost clearly got boarded, injured, didn't get a penalty, didn't get fined. His numbers was facing the guy. I can't believe that happens in the NHL. It's an absolute joke. And the game before that, we were down big time and against Ottawa, and I wasn't having it for the Flyers only to come back again. And we should have got a point, but we got snagged by the referees because there was a goal that was disallowed. And in the replay booth, you can see the glove behind the goal line. The goalie's glove was behind the goal line with the puck in it. They called it no goal because the ref was intending to blow his whistle at the time. Makes no sense. It was ridiculous how they could even call that. You were the intent to blow your whistle? Stupid. Get out of here. Get out of here. So that's where we stand here in Philadelphia. Fly Guys have a back-to-back coming up soon. We are now 6-5-1. Standard Flyers, middle of the pack right now. We got to get above this 500 mark and keep pushing. We got to keep pushing. We can't be staying in this 500 mark. Big game Wednesday night on NBC Sports. We play the Blackhawks in Chicago and then in St. Louis the next night. So a big back-to-back coming here. St. Louis is 10-2-1. The Blackhawks are 5-5-1. So today was a great episode, I thought. I really did. Lots of topics. Eagles running the show. It's the year. It is the year. But I got to get to class here in about 20 minutes, so I came home in between my 2 classes to record an episode, which is awesome. But now it's time to get ready to go, so thank you so much for listening. Like I said, I know it's a busy schedule that's coming up here for me with the season starting, but I will not give up on this. I'm going to continue to do it. My goal in the beginning was 3 times a week. That is still my goal, but sometimes it might be 2, just because it's kind of hectic. But we'll see. Whenever I got free time, I'm just going to rock and roll and get an episode done. So thank you guys so much for listening, and see you guys next time. Go Birds. Follow me on Twitter at sportsandbrodes. Go check out my latest YouTube video. Hilarious. Call into the show using your voice recording app and sending it to sportsandbrodes@gmail.com. Thank you so much.